evening, Speed Gaming 3, and welcome to another race as part of the Link to the Past Randomizer League. Tonight, we are featuring Skull Kids with Gamachu versus Leviticus of Boomer Friendly. My name is Radical Sniper 99. I'll be handling the comms tonight, and we are just about to get started. We did have game one of this setup just a little bit earlier tonight. We did see Shireen take that game, and if I am not mistaken, what that does mean is Skull Kids has officially clinched a playoff spot. So they are guaranteed one of the 4 playoff spots out of the Kakariko division of the Light World Conference. 4 teams do get out of each conference. Meanwhile, Boomer Friendly, unfortunately, not looking like they'll be in the playoffs this season. At this point, fighting to keep a spot, a guarantee as an invited team next season. So, a lot on the line. So we will see what happens here. Of course, this is open mode, open 7-7. Our runners will have the option of starting at Sanctuary or their house, and just have to get 7 crystals and kill Ganon. And we both get the Link's House start for the Ether Medallion. We did get that early map check. I did see at least a crystal at Eastern, and I thought a red crystal at Hera. Let me just check real quick one more time. Yeah, and a pendant down at Desert Palace. So we're getting that tier 1 on Gamachu's side as well, and just some green rupees. Not a huge benefit at this point. But a hookshot is really nice. We're not going to get to check the stun prize. We're just going to kill that guard. 5 rupees, so the guards are in the rupee pack. So, nice little find to start off. Hookshot is a great way to play this game. And yes, while I did miss the first game, I did hear some of the gory details of what kind of seed we had in game 1. What I heard is that we had a hookshot was a little important, so I won't spoil too much. But here we go. Both starting at Sanctuary at this point. Looks like, yeah, Gamachu is going to give us a look at that stun prize. Just small magics. So I do think Gamachu might be setting up for a tier. Yep, setting up for that tier 3 there. Unfortunately, still nothing. But we are getting a little bit more money. That does put Gamachu over 50 rupees. Hopefully, Leviticus can also get there, because I think they're setting up for some bomb money. But that 50 rupees really does make things a lot better. So our runners will be able to buy bombs and still safely get the rest needed for the bottle vendor at this point. So yes, we are into week 6 of the league. There are only 2 weeks left, so at this point we're already into the second to last week. Next week will be the last week of our regular season before we start hitting the playoff modes. So fighting for seeding, you really want to get one of those top spots in the division and eventually your own conference. So we'll see what happens there. But here we go, blind set. We do get a sword, which is really nice always, and we get some bombs, so great starting out there. And we do get that also that heart container, so nice little added safety to start here. So we'll see what else we can get out of Kakariko. Definitely one of our densest locations at the start of a game, so... So we do get the book out of the well, as well as we now have a Bombos medallion. And there's the red rang, obviously the best of the boomerangs. And as we head into Chicken Hut, just another piece of heart. So already up to 5 hearts. Obviously not a huge deal, but always nice to get that. And don't you know, we have early boots. This is the kind of stuff you would want to see for a game. So we are dashing. And we're just synced up here early in this game. And already we're getting the mirror as well from the library. So boots already paying out nicely. And I do just love this the synchronicity here. Just a piece of heart, though, on race game. We are getting the save and quit. I imagine we'll next be seeing Mini Moldorm Cave. Of course, Gamachu making a liar out of me and heading over to Sahasrahla. But Leviticus, it has headed towards South Shore, where we do get Gamachu getting a lamp and a glove. So I don't even think... we might not even do Mini Moldorm Cave on Gamachu's end, although... was about to say maybe not, but no. Gamachu saving and quitting from Link's house, now going to Sanctuary. This could be Back of Escape or the DM play. And yes, it's going to be the Back of Escape at this point, but I think not soon after that we're going to see a play up Death Mountain. But Mini Moldorm Cave over on Leviticus' side does give us the hammer, a baby shield, 20 rupees, and a glove. So not only do we have one glove in Light World, we have both gloves and hammer. We're just looking for a Moon Pearl to make Dark World access at this point. But with that small key that Gamachu did find already, gonna go to the Dark Cross, as we get to see Ice Rod Cave over on Leviticus' side. And there's a bow. So already the items are just coming fast. This is not casual boots, by the way. This is open mode. So we are just seeming to find all the items necessary to make the plays. And Gamachu's going to delay on playing for the mountain at this point. I think that was definitely in the cards. But having found that bow in Dark Cross, gonna make the play over to Eastern Palace first. Meanwhile, Leviticus giving this the bonk rocks, just some bombs. But we'll also be seeing the Back of Escape. So Leviticus will have Titan's Mitts and a hammer. Just looking for Pearl now for Dark World access. Gonna be curious to see when Leviticus heads over to Sahasrahla. That's the one concern there on Leviticus' side, just because having so much access could head for King's Tomb immediately, and if we find a pearl, might skip out on Sahasrahla for a little while, but hard to say. We are getting the save and quit though back to Link's house, so I could be just completely wrong or not. Gamachu giving us Eastern Palace. Leviticus is going to head over to the desert area, take that book, and at least, you know, there's quite a bit to check. Unfortunately, Leviticus right now not having a fire source. So unless Fire Rod's here, we are not going to see a desert clear. And maybe that's not the worst thing. We did say it is a pendant, so not the biggest importance. But there is the magic powder on Desert Ledge. But so far, Eastern Palace really not giving us too much. So we're definitely going to see a full clear of this dungeon. And there is an early big key in Desert out of the Igor room. The bow was in Dark Cross. Gamachu getting a glove and lamp out of Sahasrahla's closet, taking that immediately to Back of Escape and getting the nothing really in Back of Escape, but did take that into Dark Cross for that bow. Heart container there in the big chest. And into the back of Eastern Palace. And Gamachu gonna grind out a little bit of money here. We do have 90 rupees in the back of Eastern Palace. So nice little bonus. Leviticus will still get the powder out of Desert. Gamachu getting as many arrows as possible coming up on the Armos Knights for the most part. Skipping a couple of pots, but should be in good shape. And there's that map check on Leviticus's side. Hadn't done it yet. As Gamachu comes into his first dungeon. And a little unconventional Armo strategy, but that works. Very nice kill. And we got 2 bottles out of Eastern Palace today. So Leviticus going back to Sanctuary. We'll see what we get as the play. Looks like we might be going to turn in Magic Powder at this point. Meanwhile, Gamachu heading towards, I believe this is going to be a Death Mountain play. Unfortunately, not... Oh, sorry, Bonk Rocks. My bad. But yeah, we are getting the powder check from Leviticus. Gamachu once again checking those tree pulls, trying to see about getting a little bit of extra money. I think, you know, he's waiting a little bit, it appears, just to head over to the mini Moldworm Cave, you know, seeing if maybe he can find the money to do Ice Rod Cave into Zora area. but we really are not finding that money at all in any great quantity. Leviticus, meanwhile, is heading towards Sahashwala. So we'll have that those Titan's mitts and the lamp momentarily. We'll see when that does send them back over to escape for the bow. But they might just head into Eastern Palace. Yeah, there we go. Bow, or Titan's mitts and the lamp. And we have a flute off of the old man on Death Mountain. Okay, I was wrong. Leviticus is not going into Eastern Palace. I think this could be the mountain play. And this will, I think at this point we're looking at a high chance or a high probability that our Moon Pearl is here on Death Mountain. And what really helps Leviticus here is just having the hammer and the glove. Gamachu staying away from South Shore while, maybe hoping for that extra money to do Zora area, will not have those extra tools to make the routing of this area that much cleaner. There's our third medallion, as well as the Cane of Burna. And there's some of that money that Gamachu, I think, was hoping for. No, I'm not, this is not a bad play at all. I think, it's just looking at the idea that I think there is definitely a pearl up on the mountain, and Leviticus will be able to not just do, is going to do Hera, which Gamachu can do as well. It's just that as soon as we find that pearl, Leviticus will be able to do quite a bit of Dark, or do all of Dark Death Mountain as well. So that is a lot of information and checks. And there's the flippers as well. And I do see a question, Pearl on Checkerboard Cave. And I think a lot of us, when we run these kinds of seeds, you see that and you're just like, oh yeah, this is obviously going to be Pearl. We do have a pendant at TR and Pod, and we have a red crystal at Thieves Town. Hammer and mitts are at the mini Moldorm Cave. So we should see Gamachu heading there soon. With that flute, going to be real easy to make those checks. I also imagine Gamachu will check Sick Kid while we're here. And really heads up here, we got that golden bee, and Gamachu selling it. And as I predicted, this is that play for the Zora area. Meanwhile, Leviticus aiming for Harapot here, using the, not going with a, the bonk setup or the hook speed, but does get it. Very nicely done. We get the small key out of the big chest of Tower of Hera. And one of our items right there. Meanwhile, Gamachu is in Mini Moldorm Cave. Gonna be able to get those nice prizes here, both that hammer and those Titan's mitts. And yeah, that does, we are going to be done with Hera, which is nicely done, but it shows that I was wrong. Apparently, obviously, Death Mountain not having the Moon Pearl. So no real advantage gained there for Leviticus, unfortunately. And yes, unfortunately, Gamachu did skip Sick Kid. Yeah, we had 2 bottles in Eastern Palace, so both of them definitely on logic at this point. So, you know, just forgetting about it, I'm guessing at this point, is going to go fill it up. Maybe that's kind of going to be a reminder. And there's our Moon Pearl. So, nice find there. But we will get to see the rest of the Zora area. Just some bombs on the Zora ledge. Now, in terms of go mode, which I know everybody's kind of already like, what are the possibilities here? So what do we definitely need? Well, we have the ability to full clear at this point. We can and have beaten Eastern. Hera's good. Swamp is good. We do need a Fire Rod for Skull Woods. And we also need the Cane of Samaria for Misery Mire. And of course, we need one more sword. So definitely the Go Mode kit is coming together very quickly. Yeah, and what we can say is, you know, we know Pedestal is dead. Turtle Rock requiring both those items means it can't be there. So, honestly, definitely running low on possibilities and locations, but the game is just that wide open at this point. As we find the Ice Rod in Mire. Wrong rod. Sorry, game. As Gamachu does get that powder. We'll see how much is he going to head into Desert. Green Pendant Desert, you know, 3 items available, and it looks like he is going to make the play. Yeah, I think at this point, you know, the rudest item possible is to find Fire Rod in Turtle Rock. Definitely a very rare occurrence given what we've already got. Yeah, it does appear that Gamachu is going for the full desert clear, or at least most of it. And finding map and compass, you know, knowing that big chest is an item, and now that land molus is definitely an item, how much do you actually put into full clearing? Meanwhile, the question for Leviticus is, when do we see the play into Dark Cross for that bow? Well, Gamachu not going after Land Molus, but will now check Checkerboard Cave, and we might actually get a Gina after this as well. So Leviticus heading into Village of Outcasts at this point. We didn't really gain too much out of the Mire area. Powder's definitely a good safety for our runners, so they'll be happy to have that, but not a lot in the progression department. And especially just, Ice Rod is not going to do anything for us. And I'm definitely in agreement. You have the crystal clear ability for quite a bit at this point. For Gamachu, Hera, Swamp, Thieves, and Ice are clearable from his standpoint. So I definitely, I'd say stay out of Pendants. It's a little less on Leviticus's side, but still really tempting with Thieves, Swamp, and even Ice available. So and I don't hate this play from Gamachu either. When you look at the idea is, like, I think what he's saying here is, I know that I don't need Turtle Rock. Like, there's pretty much zero chance that Turtle Rock is going to be required for Go mode. So let me check DDM, and if I can find one of the two items I'm missing, then I'm done with the mountain. Although we do get a second sword out of Thieves Town, so that's a nice find. And here we go with Hookshot Cave. We get another bottle. We are quickly approaching bottle percent. And yes, the long shot of possible pedestal seed just for a sword has also died. And that was an extremely long chance because we did already check one of the tablets, so we knew that that wasn't going to pay out. So Gamachu going to work quickly through Tower of Hera here, while Leviticus does work through Thieves Town. We have ideal equipment for both of these dungeons, so... And Gamachu going with the hook speed variation of Harapot. You put yourself into that corner, and very nicely done. Gets the Harapot eventually. Meanwhile, Leviticus heading into the basement of Thieves Town at this point. And yeah, really, both of our runners are just going to be flying through stuff. I think on Leviticus's side, we see this lead into Swamp Palace and Hype Cave and Hope to Find before, you have to make a decision on left side Swamp. For Gamma, I think we're going to see a similar play after clearing out Hera. I'm guessing Gamma will read Ether Tablet and then possibly Spike Cave. We do have the Cane of Burna already. But nice kill of Moldorm there, luckily not getting thrown off the ledge. So that will be crystal number 2 for Gamachu, as Leviticus is heading into Blind for their second crystal. Actually, and that'll be the second 5/6 crystal on Leviticus's side. Yeah, and really for Gamachu at this point, Spike Cave is probably the last mountain location that exists in any sense. After this, unless it is the rudest fire rod location, inside of Turtle Rock, Gamachu is anticipating no return trips to the mountain. What he is really hoping for is to find Fire Rod first. Meanwhile, Leviticus done with Thieves Town and heading into the brewery here. Just a piece of heart. Gamachu getting ready with the Cane of Burna. Maintaining 4 hearts here. So deactivating that Cane of Burna a little early. Spike Cave, nothing this time. Now, for Leviticus, we'll see how much time is spent on Smith Chain at this point and Hammer Pegs. Having the book and the Master Sword might lead to a desire to do Purple Chest. So, we'll see what happens after this dig game. I think we will be seeing the Smith Chain, though. Meanwhile, Gamachu being a little thorough here, going to hit up Ice Rod Cave. Meanwhile, Leviticus, having finished dig game, is heading back for the Smith, so we are going to get to the Smith Chain. And Gamachu remembering, hey, Sick Kid exists, and just that little bit of allowance. So 30 minutes into the seed, we are tied up in the crystal department. Pretty much identical equipment. The only real difference here is Gamachu finding the ice rod and the bow. Whereas Leviticus does have that Master Sword. And we do get a mail upgrade. Smiths are actually going to craft us some clothes, so there is blue mail on Leviticus' side. Definitely will not be seeing that red mail today. So the Gamachu is going to work through Thieves Town, just knowing we get that sword, and I believe we got the bug net out of there. Meanwhile, Leviticus doing that the rest of that Smith Chain. So we're going to get Purple Chest over to there, as well as Stumpy and the Bombos tablet, before I have to assume we're going to get a Swamp Palace play. Ice Rod was in the Mire Shed, and the bow was in Dark Cross. The big difference here that kind of led to this is Gamachu made a play over to Sahasrahla right after Kakariko, getting a glove and the lamp, which brought him to back of Escape and then towards Dark Cross, while Leviticus, after getting going through Kakariko, went into Mini Moldorm Cave, found Hammer and Glove, and when Leviticus found the other tools. Oh, and there's our other bow off of the Purple Chest. So great find there for Leviticus. That does mean we might see silver arrows for Gamachu. I don't know if we see silvers on Leviticus' side at this point, just given how little is left required for Go mode. Of course, I can't say for sure if we see Purple Chest from Gamachu. He's definitely been very thorough up to this point. Might feel he wants to start taking a couple of chances, but I can't say for sure. We are going to get Hype Cave before heading into Swamp Palace. I do like this play a lot. We are now 2 items from Go Mode on both sides. So if you can find those 2 Go Mode items without having to go through all of Swamp Palace, you will go for that every time. Another sword and a heart container, so not the worst Hype Cave. A sword, you know, getting from Master to Tempered Sword is always appreciated, especially before Swamp Palace, but it does not push us closer to Go Mode. Now, I think the one thing that's really going to help for Leviticus on this, you know, I was saying we might not get that Dark Cross play, but I think there's a chance here that Leviticus still makes it, because after taking care of Swamp Palace, I could see Leviticus heading back up to do the Big Bomb into Eastern and potentially even Pod if they decide to wait on Ice Palace a little longer. Hard to say for sure, but there is a chance that we see escape. But Gamachu into the blind fight. Now we will pay attention a bit to the items we see here in Swamp. We did get just a piece of heart in that first check. Dark Cross is after you, like, it's the middle of Escape. Like, if you came from back of Escape through the sewer area, that would be the Dark Cross. Or if you came from the front of Escape, it's when you go into the dark area. Yeah, the Escape sewers is probably the best way to describe it. Gamachu now back onto the overworld, having taken down the 3rd crystal. Leviticus working through Swamp Palace, obviously a bit more front work, but we'll see what happens and how much Leviticus decides to do in this dungeon. So Gamachu did skip Hammer Pegs, so this could lead into a Smith play. We got another item out of Swamp Palace. So far 2 items, no map or compass, or big key. And we'll see what Gamachu does now. Heading back up to Village of Outcasts. So this will be a Smith play. We'll see if that does lead. I have to believe with Book and Master Sword, we're gonna get Bombo's Tablet and Purple Chest. Nice bomb diver down there on Leviticus's side for the another bottle and the mushroom. So we know where all 4 bottles are on this seed. Gamachu will likely hit bottle percent. Leviticus might not find the other bottles, but we'll have to wait and see. But there is the compass, so unfortunately, that does mean at least 1 item will still be in Swamp Palace. There's the blue mail on Gamachu's side, as well as us getting the magic powder play for the bat. Nice work so far on Leviticus' side, though, against Argus. And there's the map, so we do have 2 items left in Swamp Palace. We will see if Leviticus decides to head back in. There is still a lot open on Leviticus' side, and hate the idea of leaving. Hopefully it's not, you know, a hugely important item there on the left side, but given how close we are to Go Mode, I completely understand this play. It looks like we might get Big Bomb, and yes, we are getting the Big Bomb play. So that'll be the 2 items in Pyramid Fairy as well as our Pyramid Ledge item. Meanwhile, Gamachu just working through the Smith Chain. Will get silver arrows soon. And we'll see how Gamachu approaches Swamp Palace in this case. On the pyramid, we just have a heart container. And we're pretty healthy at this point with the mail upgrade as well. Just a fire shield and a red rupee on Pyramid Fairy. So that is not the answer either. Now, of course, the other play we could see here is Leviticus. Okay, heading south. I think we're going to get Eastern Palace. Yep, Eastern Palace coming up. I don't know if we see Pendant Pod on Leviticus's side. For Gamachu, I think Swamp Palace leads very nicely into ice, if not Pyramid Fairy into ice. For Leviticus, it'll be an interesting question of which choice is made. So for that chest, the way it works is as long as you're in Dark World and don't mirror, the game still thinks you have a follower. The good example of this would be go to Dig Game after picking up Purple Chest, and the NPC at Dig Game will say to you, you know, hey, you can't play this, blah, 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 blah. And it's because the game still thinks you have a follower. So as long as you don't mirror until you reach roughly next to Gary to turn in the Purple Chest, the game still thinks you have it with you. So it's really nice and convenient that you can instead run to turn in Purple Chest through Dark World. And really, there's quite a wide berth on turning in Purple Chests or the mirror location. So we're seeing some kind of cross paths here. Leviticus will be taking down Eastern Palace while Gamachu goes through Swamp Palace. No real new information going to come from Leviticus's side. For Gamachu, the question is, do we see left side Swamp Palace after clearing out the rest of it? And yeah, we do have 2 items. We did find map and compass. Both of them were in the back. So I think it's safe to say that we see Gamachu go to the back first. But the question really becomes, how about after that? And unfortunately for Gamachu, he left Hype Cave for later. So he might think, I've got more items outside still that are better. And might decide to also skip left side swamp. So this would help Leviticus from, you know, remove the potential for getting burned by that decision. Yeah, at this point, Gamachu's just been a little more thorough, I'd have to say. It's not a ton of a difference. You know, Gamachu having done Dark Death Mountain, also having done the Mire area. So these are some nice little bonus checks already done on Gamachu's side. Leviticus's extra checks so far are Pyramid Fairy, Pyramid Ledge, and I think that's everything. So at this point, they're just both heading into their boss. Oh, and Hype Cave. So that Tempered Sword is definitely helpful for Leviticus. Unfortunate for Gamachu not having that coming up on Argus. So we're either going to get some double slashes or spins on the puffs. But nice going so far for Gamma on Argus. Meanwhile, here comes that Eastern, or that Armos fight. Not getting the quick kill, unfortunately, for Leviticus, but still a clean fight. And yep, there we go. 3 bottles now on Leviticus' side and 4 crystals apiece. We are tied up in the crystal department. So Gamachu heading back into Swamp. So we are going to find out if this could be really, you know, I don't want to say that this is the game, but if there is something on left side Swamp, I don't know when Leviticus heads back. Instead, we are seeing Leviticus head into Palace of Darkness, Pendant Pod at that. So we get that early big key. And I think if we find one of the items here on left side Swamp, you know, I think the natural play is Hype Cave into Ice Palace, especially if, you know, if for some reason we find if we get Canis Samaria here in our remaining checks in Swamp, you know, I think we definitely see a play to Ice Palace before anything else. So we do get 2 small keys on the right side there. So we're back up to 3 small keys. That does mean there's a chance of an item in the vanilla big key chest. We get the shovel, so we don't even know if this is required. Even longer time to wait on this one. And bombs. Okay, so the only thing that's the question is, of course, that shovel. We'll see if Gamachu goes check that immediately. I think we do see a quick check there, as well as Hype Cave. Meanwhile, Leviticus into the back of Pod. This is where the items usually are. We get that small key on the right side. And half magic, so a nice little find. And there's Tempered Sword for Gamachu. So just a small key there in the Harmless Hellway. That does mean we would be getting an item in the vanilla big key chest. And Gamachu is heading for Big Bomb. Is going to skip Shovel Spot for now. But unfortunately, Pendant Pod really not paying out yet. And still continuing not to. That Hinox bullying Gamachu there. And Leviticus running out of Palace of Darkness. I'm very curious what the play is here. Running out of Pod is definitely a bit of a slower play, so this could be to Ice Palace. This could be up to Quakefish. But I don't think we get Quakefish just because Leviticus is also short Zora money, and I don't think you go up to that area twice without Zora money. And we are getting the front of Escape from Gamachu's side. We do know there is some stuff still here, so I like this play. Leviticus is going to Quakefish, so I was wrong. I really thought Leviticus wouldn't want to make this play without the extra money, but does have a mushroom, so we are going to get the mushroom turn in. Open really just refers to a world state. Most seeds are either open or standard. Open means you don't have to do the Zelda rescue sequence to start the game. There we go, the single arrow. And we are also going to get information on Quakefish. And just 50 bucks, but that is huge for Leviticus being able to check Zora now. So we're going to get that Zora check as well. Yeah, we do know Zora is nothing already. This is just an extra check on Leviticus's side that we had not seen for them. So Gamachu going to head up also to Quakefish. I have to imagine we're getting Ice Palace soon. But I think, part of this might just be the fact that our runners, a lot of runners today will tell you they wait on Ice Palace hoping for Samaria. It really has made life just that much better for that dungeon, and a lot of runners like to wait for it. Gamachu's rupee situation a little bit better than Leviticus, so just heading straight to, are able to also buy a potion at that moment. And we get that little high five moment at the rock. And yeah, I think, for Gamachu, I think at this point we're gonna see Ice Palace. Looks like Leviticus is taking the time to at least do a couple more checks. Looks like we're gonna get Graveyard Ledge, so kind of sticking to the overworld for now. I have to say, I'm genuinely surprised we are not seeing ice from either runner. Stick to your crystals. As a lot of people have said, always be clearing crystal dungeons. Unfortunately, we are just not seeing that. But we are getting that shovel turn in. Remember, this was one of those items we got on Left Side Swamp, so this could be a massive advantage for Gamachu. But we are getting Graveyard Ledge from Leviticus. And just 10 arrows, so Left Side Swamp not gonna burn Leviticus for this one. And Gamachu is heading for Pod, so this really is, time for Leviticus to, make a play and really could take control. We're going to get that Sick Kid play, also the Sick Kid check from Leviticus. We do know this is just 5 rupees. Yeah, and honestly, I really think that's what it is that I think our runners are desperately trying to avoid not being able to Icebreaker in a sense. I think if they had Samaria, they'd both be in Ice Palace by now. But it just appears both runners are saying, can I have a cane? Can I make this just that much nicer? And I mean, you know, we're talking about the Cane, you know, and Ice Palace. There is a dungeon we haven't touched that we have a bit of access to. I don't think we've seen either runner check out the front of Skull Woods. So I'd be very, you know, questioning when we see that play. And yeah, like that's the thing. There is definitely a point where I feel we've spent a lot of extra time doing checks outside of the dungeons, and I think those were fine, but I think both runners are kind of just continuing to sink that extra time into it. And, you know, I feel for them in that they really want to find those items before dipping ice or skull. But it's the time sink on both ends that's, you know, I gotta imagine this isn't great for them. And Leviticus heading back for Ether Tablet. I'm a bit surprised by this choice to get the vanilla or to get the red mail, but okay. We do not know what's on Green Pendant. We haven't seen either runner kill Landmolus. We do know there is an item as well as that Green Pendant there, so both runners were, you know, Gamachu went there with fire and decided not to kill Landmo. Leviticus was there without fire, so we did not have that option on Leviticus' side. But there's that Spike Cave check, so... And yes, this is week 6 of the Link to the Past Randomizer League. The mode is open 7-7. Runners start in the open world state where they can choose between starting at Link's house or the Sanctuary. They still have to collect 7 crystals, climb GT, beat Agatu, and defeat Ganon. Other than that, nothing too... This is probably the first mode a lot of runners are playing. This is kind of your most basic form of the randomizer. So, a classic mode, as it were. Meanwhile, Leviticus doing Mire Shed. And yes, this is week 6. We have one more week of the regular season after this. And Gamachu also leaving behind Helmasaur. I don't know who's, you know, we're seeing... I think Gamachu's done just a few extra checks at this point. And Gamachu is going to make the Ice Palace play, while Leviticus makes the Desert play. Oh my gosh, this is very interesting sets of checks on both sides. In terms of the divisional standpoint, this is our Kakariko division in the Light World Conference for the Invitational League. Currently, Skull Kids has clinched a playoff spot. They are currently 9-2. Meanwhile, Boomer Friendly, unfortunately, on the opposite end of the division, looking to get some wins and some points before the end of the season to help guarantee their spot in the Invitational League next season as well. Bottom team from every division is not guaranteed an invite back for the next season. The way this league works is we do have an open league where teams are competing to get into Invitational. And, you know, I'll say it's humorous. For as friendly as this seed had been up to this point, we really are starting to get down to the where is it? Green Pendant or Landmolus only having bombs. Leviticus finding a lot of those, but no item that's required. We'll see what the turn-in of our Green Pendant leads to us to. And interestingly enough, Gamachu deciding... Oh, sorry, no. Still doing the Ice Palace Bomb Jump. But Leviticus heading into Crystal Mire without Cane of Samaria. So even, you know, I think there's a good chance something is in Mire, but if it's not Cane of Samaria, this really could, you know, lead to the double dip of the dungeon, and that's not a great situation. Meanwhile, Gamachu going north at the big spike, deciding, you know, hit the hookshot lock side first, and then going to work over to Freezor. Unfortunately, all the red berries just getting in the way. There's the compass on the bridge as we now get the H room as well as vanilla big key chest incoming in Ice Palace. And there's the red cane. It's not Icebreaker, but that's about as close as you get to an Icebreaker red cane sometimes. So, wow. Chat, you called it. Ice Palace having the answer, and you know, I think for as good of shape Gamma's in right now, I think that's definitely not a check you feel good about. I'd be nervous just given the amount of checks Gamachu has made up to this point. Meanwhile, Leviticus going through Misery Mire, definitely hoping to, you know, maybe get something. But I think at this point, the only thing really possible is, do we find the Fire Rod? But we know that Gamachu, after clearing out Ice Palace, is heading directly to Mire. There's our big key up in the spike room. Meanwhile, Gamachu dropping in on Cold Stare, going to use that Bombos medallion, and definitely in good shape. Not a too terrible fight, so... Unfortunately, not keeping Cold Stare in the corner, but able to take down those two with a nice spin and just a couple of extra slashes, and there goes Cold Stare. We did see the front of escape. Gamachu did front of escape after doing pink or the big bomb. So yes, we have seen the front of escape. Really, at this point, if it's not Mire, there's a good chance that it's also front of Skull Woods. And big shout outs to our tracker tonight, Jinxie Girl. Fighting with the tracker a little bit at times, definitely eating some inputs, but doing an amazing job. And it is not in Mire. That is both items for Leviticus out of Misery Mire. So I imagine Gamachu does full clear this dungeon, so we will see all the checks, but it is not here. And we are getting the Ice Palace play now from Leviticus. The only real time loss here, of course, is just the fact that Leviticus is going to have to do all of, or go back through Mire, whereas Gamachu can do the single dip. We'll see what Gamachu skips, though. Being one item from Go mode, he might feel he doesn't have to be as thorough with the play. And Gamachu is gonna, I was gonna say head straight for Vitreous, but no, is going to do the, is gonna at least try to skip the cutscene chest. Nice hammer dash, lovely. Unfortunately, I do believe one of our items was on the cutscene chest. So if Gamma does stick to full clearing everything as he has so far, or for the most part, then there's a high probability he will be back in for cutscene. So yes, Gamachu heading towards Vitreous now. That'll be Gamma's 6th crystal, so we're just looking for a fire rod to finish this seed out. And Gamachu's route through Ice Palace really did pay out nicely. Able to avoid some of the other checks, whereas Leviticus is, you know, doing left side, dropping down and heading over to the hookshot locked area. Yeah, at this point, what we have is front of Skullwood, front of Turtle Rock, and who knows how deep that could be. If I'm missing something, I don't know what really, because I think we've seen everything else, to be honest. Like, I think at this point we've seen every other check from at least one of our runners. Oh, Bumper Cave. Good point. We have not seen Bumper Cave, I think. And yep, no surprise here. Gamachu heading back into Misery Mire. In terms of an ahead question, Gamachu up to 6 crystals to Leviticus is 4, so Gamachu does have a bit of an advantage there, but it's really going to come down to who finds Fire Rod first. But given the fact that Leviticus will be finishing Ice Palace for a crystal number 5, while Gamma is just about done. Like, Gamma's going to be done checking Mire before Leviticus is done in Ice. So that, you know, is a 2 crystal advantage, and that is not insurmountable, but it's pretty substantial. Now, of course, one of the other things we do have that we have not... Leviticus killed Landmolus for Green Pendant, and we did not see that turn in. So it is possible that it's there. But we might see Gamma head into the back of Desert now. Never mind. I'm wrong. And Gamachu heading for Skull Woods, looking at a possible French vanilla fire rod today. Yeah, Green Pendant could be Leviticus, an out for Leviticus at this point. I just don't know how big of an out it is. Because even if it is there, I think Gamachu does Skull Woods, does Bumper Ledge, or does Graveyard Ledge, and into Skull, and after that I would have to think Desert is the next play for Gamma before going Turtle Rock. And just a Heart Container on Spiked, or on Bumper Ledge, sorry. And yeah, that shovel we got out of Swamp Palace was not anything, so we really are kind of running out of checks. It's Skull or Turtle Rock at this point, I think, or that Green Pendant. And I was going to say Leviticus is heading back, or is heading to Skull Woods, but wow, here is the gamble. Leviticus heading up Death Mountain and going to give us, I think this is Turtle Rock. And yeah, to say this might be the desperate play, I don't think is wrong. I think Leviticus, having dipped Meyer and some of the other plays not necessarily being bad, but just not working out, might put Leviticus in the sense that this is probably a pretty jet seed if you make the calls, and maybe my opponent has not made the play into TR where Fire Rod is. Because honestly, if you stick to your Crystal Dungeons, you could potentially be in go mode already. And yeah, it's not unheard of for Turtle Rock to be the answer. We've definitely seen those kinds of layouts. The hard part is this could be there it is. Fire Rod in Pot Prison of Skull Woods. Gamachu at 112 has entered go mode. Luckily, Turtle Rock is not a very advantageous dungeon. There's nothing really sending you further in, so that is nice, but it's the mountain climb, and even just dipping into Turtle Rock, that is really unfortunate here for Leviticus. And Shady Force Games pointing out in chat that yes, I mean, if you beeline crystals in this seed and touch those crystal dungeons more than anything else, this seed is very much free. Lots of extra checks, really not paying out today. And yeah, for those of you who might not watch a lot of the randomizer, we don't talk necessarily about a lead until about this moment when one runner is clearly in go mode, just because of how easy some things can turn around. We definitely talk about the advantage that Gamachu had, just because of how much he had done up to that moment. But Leviticus does get the silver arrows. Yeah, and part of, when we talk about what is the right play or the wrong play, it's a feeling thing. Different runners against, you know who you're going up against. While these are two great invitational level players, sometimes it's just not going to work out as a certain way. So Gamachu, though, heading up to Ganon's Tower, there are 22 locations. You know the drill, 1 to 22. Just take those guesses, see what you can figure out. And yeah, I mean, this is a tough seed in the fact that, you know, Pod especially is a pendant dungeon notorious for having progression, and today was just not the answer. Desert Palace really didn't pay out. And of course, Turtle Rock was pretty much never on the table, at least from Gamachu's end, it looked like. So, understandable decisions on throughout. Still going to be a relatively quick seed, but I think both runners know there is time. You know, this is one of those races where if one, I think stumbling into the God route was not unheard of. But it does look like Leviticus is heading towards Skull Woods, going to find that Fire Rod moment. And Gamachu is into the basement of Ganon's Tower. Check 1, just 20 bucks. Check 2, there's the big key. Hope Room, not the ideal Hope Room, but still hopeful. So number 2 is the answer, and we had a 2 from Raktulanesh. Congratulations. Gamachu stealing the key under the pot. So yeah, not even a long find or hunt for that big key. Meanwhile, Leviticus about to get Fire Rod and also enter Go mode. And Gamachu utilizing the cape to just dash through Cannonball Room there. And with Half Magic and Fire Rod now, everything just burns so crisply in the gauntlet. So just gonna continue to just decimate these enemies. Temperate Sword also really nice to work through these Zizaks. Gamachu coming up on Landmolus 2, while Leviticus into the back of Skull Woods. Now this, of course, is going to be crystal number 6 for Leviticus. Is going to have to make the return trip to Misery Mire after this. And yes, Gamachu really, you know, showing his skill at this point. For those of you unfamiliar, Gamachu was our runner-up in the most recent Link to the Past Randomizer main tourney, so definitely quite a skilled runner. And of course, right as I say that, Gamachu falling off in Torches 1. I feel like I've just cursed the man, but... Gamachu does remember, hey, I need to get that key off of the mini Helma, as Leviticus does get crystal number 6 off the Moth. Gamachu, unfortunately, not having the magic to even pull off the powder there for the health refill, but I think he's in decent shape on this. Meanwhile, Leviticus heading back to Misery Mire for that 7th crystal. And yes, like if you are not, if you haven't been watching the league a ton this season, Skull Kids, as I said, is already clinched their playoff spot. So, and this is with 3 games still remaining, this being one of those 3. So this has been a powerhouse team for very much the whole season. Gamachu applying the cape there. I don't know why, but sure. But nicely done. Agatu is dead. Of course, Swordless mode is not one of our regular season modes for League. It is a potential playoff mode, so we will be, of course, nearing playoffs very soon. So keep an eye out if you really like Swordless. We will be potentially seeing those in just a couple of weeks. But Gamachu dropping in on Ganon. And nicely done so far on this Ganon fight. Gamachu really showing just, how to pull off that 1-on-1. Really, really clean. As Leviticus enters the Vitreous fight. As Leviticus does take down Vitreous for crystal number 7 and will be heading up to Ganon's tower. And Gamachu just waiting for that 1x3 bridge as Leviticus does flute up to the mountain. But get your GGs in chat for Gamachu, who does finish in first place with a 1:22:33. I love the 1-2-3 on the number there. Nicely done. And Leviticus taking out some aggression on the Dead Rocks, but finding out, also seeing the dot done from Gamachu, has decided to forfeit at this point, and I completely understand it. So GG's to both of our runners tonight for an excellent show. We will see, of course, if we can get them in for interviews. And yeah, we had 2 very jet seeds in both of these matchups of this group. Game 1 and Game 2 between Skull Kids and Boomer Friendly just blown by. As we are now joined by both Gamachu and Leviticus. GG's.
Hey, GG's Leviticus.
GG's.
So I must say probably the kindest Light World overworld checks until we hit Dark World.
It's kind of, depending on your definition of kind, I guess.
Yeah, of course. I know sometimes the too many checks available is not a good sensation either. So
yeah, definitely.
Yeah, just going into the Dark World, just 2 items for go mode and a lot of crystal dungeons completable. Like, oh gosh, where do you even start? Like, do you want to clear the crystal dungeons, of course, but do you want to clear a lot of, overworld along the way? Or, if it starts to feel a bit like, I think I'm doing too much, not enough, I don't know. And yeah, it's a little scary going in just with 2 items for go mode.
Definitely. You get to the Dark World with that many checks, and you're like, all right, well, first thing, we're definitely not going to check Skull Woods because there's no way Fire Rod's in there. And then we're definitely not going to do Ice Palace until we find Red King because there's no way it's in there.
Yeah, it's just, you have the Mitts and Hammer and Mirror going in Dark World. I'm not touching Skullwoods. That's not happening.
Yeah.
Not happening. And I want to try to put off, like, a dungeon like Swamp Palace as long as I can, because, you don't want to even think about left side. And that's when I feel like I started to feel like I need to make a gamble. I think I cleared out way too much, even doing in front of Hyrule Castle, like everything before I decided to do, let's do Pod before Ice Palace now. I cleaned out way too much. And of course, Pod was empty.
What was in Pod again? I can't even remember. There was something there?
I don't think there was anything. I think the best thing you might have gotten was a mirror shield.
I think it was a half magic in there as well.
Oh, yeah, definitely. But nothing, no progression, unfortunately. But I had to go do Eastern anyway, so it's like, well, I'm just going to do Pod, because Pendant Pod, always something in Pendant Pod, right?
Yeah, completely understandable play. I mean, it's just unfortunate that this was kind of the surprise seed in that if you rush Crystal Dungeons in Dark World, there's Go Mode. And that's a tough call when I think, and I don't know, you both can give a perspective on this. Do you feel that since Icebreaker, you are less tempted to go into Ice without Cane of Samaria?
Me personally, yeah, for sure.
If I didn't do all those overworld checks that I did, I probably would have just dipped Ice Palace, but I think I cleaned out way too much. I'm like, okay, I can't just die. This is just like, I feel like most people are just gonna rush the Crystal Dungeons in this situation. Maybe I'll get something that'll bail me out in Pod. But no, I just felt even worse because I got nothing. Like, okay, well, if it's an Ice, I'm probably gonna lose. I don't know. But that Fire Rod being where it was, I feel like that was probably my out in this seed.
Yeah, I mean, in retrospect, I probably should have done Ice sooner because my mentality was, with that many checks open, was just to gamble because I would need the luck advantage to win. And thinking that I probably should have done Ice Palace, that would have been, in a way, a gamble. But I didn't do that, so, that's what happens.
Now, of course, in terms of implications for this race, for Skull Kids, this does give you now 30 points on the season. You obviously have your playoff spot clinched at this point with 2 games left. How does your team feel, trying to get seeding, I guess, at this point?
No, we're just happy that we were able to make clinch playoffs. Was that, that's already good enough as it is for us. These other games, it's just not as stressful anymore. Just enjoy it, enjoy the ride. No need to stress. If we lose, we lose. That's fine. No big deal. Just, just enjoy the show, pretty much.
And of course, boomer friendly, not to dwell on any bad news, but, I guess for you, it's your team. It's, the dangers of finishing last at this point. Looks like between you and the Immortals, of course.
Mm-hmm.
So
I mean, that's which is
yeah, of course, so definitely a tough scenario entering the last week of the season, hoping to get out of there for, to guarantee you're keeping the invite for next season.
Mm-hmm. Sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say I didn't check who it is against next week. It's New Swag at Jackson, so.
Mm-hmm. Well, for me, this is my last race of the league because Dawn and Scrub are going to be playing both co-op Randomizer seeds next week. So for me, it's everything's just kind of out of my hands now. So there's that's just kind of it's almost a relief in a way. I don't know. I mean, if we get relegated, we get relegated. It's fine, honestly. I feel like after Open League, it was really long. We made it all the way to the finals, so there was just a lot of weeks of playing, and I felt really burnt out. And I don't know if I ever really recovered after that. And I never really been super excited about Rando for a really long time. So if we didn't make the Invitational next season, I wouldn't be super upset, honestly. Not because I don't enjoy it. It's been fun. It's been a good time. But It's
a
just not
brutal
something I'm
schedule.
excited about right now, and so it's okay if we have to go to open league, and I don't know, we'll see whenever this next season comes up and decide what to do from there for sure.
I mean, I definitely see that sentiment. Just from a perspective, I think we're gonna finish up league and main tournament not gonna be far behind, and all the other kind of big tournaments that we expect as part of this. We're in the middle of SGL brackets, and that's between qualifiers, and if you make brackets for any of these tournaments, these definitely kind of drag on a little bit, and so I definitely understand that sentiment.
For sure, yeah, but it's okay. I mean, if there was of all of the games I could have played as my last game in the league, I'm glad it was just a good old-fashioned open seed against Gamma. Is one of my favorite players for a long time. Dante, please don't ban me from league for saying that. But yeah, like I was just really like this race was just fun, and I was glad. I don't know if I've ever raced against Gamma outside of maybe like a qualifier or something, which barely counts. So that was really fun for me. I enjoyed it. I've been watching his stream for a while. He's just one of my favorite players, so I was just happy to race him. It was fun.
Thanks. Yeah, it was definitely fun racing you too. Very nice to hear that. And yes, it is. After playing a lot of crazy modes throughout the league season, it is fun just to play a nice, normal, open mode. Yes, no key sanity, none of the other junk. No, just
I'm so lucky. I'm so lucky. I have teammates who are willing to play cross keys and co-op Randomizer for me, because I do not want to touch that with a 10-foot pole, and I'm so happy that they're willing to do that and that they enjoy it, because I really don't, and that's fine. I'm happy to have them. They're the best teammates in the world as far as I'm concerned.
I was gonna say nobody's looking forward to running with those starting boots into Lionels.
Oh yeah, there's that.
Oh, league admins really looking to troll all of us next week.
But I definitely have had fun here in this seed. It's just you have everything open up in the early part of the seed. It's just those two items. Where do you go? Choose the right choices, and you win. Just the worst ones you want to go to: Ice Palace and Skull Woods for both Kane and Fire Rod.
Yeah, just how it goes.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess any last comments or stuff before we close up shop tonight?
Well, no. Thanks for commentating, Jess and Jinx. Who is it?
Yeah, it was Jinxie.
Jinxie, yeah, Jinxie girl doing the tracking, and GG's again to Leviticus, and good luck for you guys next week at Co-op Randomizer.
Absolutely, you as well. Thanks to everyone in league involved in the process. It's a big job. This is probably the biggest. It's probably a bigger job this season than it's ever been. So as always, thanks for that. And also, I just wanted to say big shout outs to the Dr. Mario community. I don't know if any of you are watching, but you guys are awesome. If anyone out there is interested in speedrunning a puzzle game, come check us out. Dr. Mario Championship Discord. You can find our YouTube. Hashtag shameless plug. We're awesome. Our community's awesome. Please come join us.
So I guess that's going to do it for us tonight. Once again, big shout outs to our runners. Do make sure to give them a follow. Unfortunately, I am not able to drop that command to get those put out. Also, shout outs to our tracker tonight, Jinxie Girl, for helping out behind the scenes. Very much appreciate her help throughout. In terms of races for the rest of this evening, we actually have two going on right now. One over on SpeedGaming 6 between Crosswords Key Sanity and Frozen Leftovers. That is Ace Zero versus Mystic. And then over on SpeedGaming 5, we have Spherefinity versus I Like Big Boots, GFE versus Zero Rush. So two really hype matchups in the Invitational League. In terms of Open League matchups for the rest of tonight, it looks like we do have one that's going on over on the ALTTPR League, Tipsy Tavern Toasters versus Saki Tea. But that's it for tonight. So all those races have started and are about 20 minutes or 30 minutes in. So if you are still looking for a more links to the past randomizer action, you have those options. And of course, make sure to give a follow to all the SpeedGaming networks, because not only is there link to the past randomizer, we have plenty of other great speed gaming events and games happening all the time here. So do make sure to give these channels a follow, and hopefully we'll see you there. But until next time, I've been Radical Sniper 99, and thank you all for watching. Good night.